When I first came up with the idea for Grk, I think I was probably in my study staring at the screen of my computer. It wasn't anywhere very interesting, because a writer's life is very boring. You spend most of your time just writing, looking at your computer or working with a pen and paper. So started with a dog called Grk. That's the first one in the series. And I've now written 5 more, and I've got up to the 6th, which is Grk Takes Revenge. I'm definitely going to write 2 more books in the series, and after that, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Grk Takes Revenge, which is the 6th book in the Grk series, starts off in Tim's house in London. And Tim wakes up and Natasha comes to tell him that Max has disappeared, leaving a note. And in the note he says he's gone to find Colonel Zinfandel to take his revenge on him. But he doesn't say where he's gone or how he's going to take his revenge. So together Tim and Natasha and Grk have to work out where he's gone and what he's doing before they can chase after him and stop him taking his revenge. Whenever I write the Grk books, I choose the location before I start writing the book. So for this book, I chose Paris before I started even thinking about the plot of the book. When I'm writing one of the Grk books, I like to go to the country where the book is set. So for this book, Grk Takes Revenge, I went on this train along that track and ended up in Paris, which is exactly what Tim and Grk and Natasha do in the book as well. And I stayed in Paris for a few days, eating croissants and drinking French wine and walking around the streets looking for interesting places where the action scenes in the book might happen. And the place that I went to immediately, and which seemed like the perfect place to set a very action-packed scene in the book, is the Eiffel Tower. And if you look at the cover of the book, you'll see the artist has drawn a fantastic picture of Tim and Grk at the Eiffel Tower. And that's because in the book there is a scene in which Tim and Grk go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower in all the lifts, and Colonel Zinfandel and his men come charging after them, and actually I'm not going to tell you what happens in the rest of it, but if you want to find out, you better read the book. Grk Takes Revenge is the 6th book in the Grk series, and so by now I know Tim and Grk and Max and Natasha pretty well. I've written 6 books about them, and each time I write a book about them, it becomes a bit easier to write about them. I know more about what they do and what they like and how they live, and so writing each book becomes a little bit easier and a little bit quicker too. People are always asking how I pronounce Grk, or how you pronounce Grk rather, and what I say to them is Grk rhymes with Brook or Crook or even book. So the Grk books, if you're reading one of the Grk books and you can say that, then you pronounce Grk perfectly. People often ask me what my favourite books are and the books that have influenced Grk. It's a really difficult question, but definitely one of my favourite books is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And another of them is a wonderful book called Holes. And then there's a whole series of books which I love, which are the Tintin books. And I'm sure anyone who's read the Grk books can see how much Tintin has influenced the way I think about stories, the sort of stories I like, and the Grk books themselves.